is the theme of this press conference. The title, Threats Against Honorable Advocate Job Sikhala. In the light of an unjustified onslaught and the calls by ZANU-PF functionaries, among them Nick Mangwana, Energy Mutodi, Sengezo Chawangu, Owen Muda Ngube, and the ZANU-PF Varakashi destroyers, including ZANU-PF Youth League Midlands Prophets, who have just joined this team of players who are calling for the arrest and further persecution of the National Democratic Working Group Chairman and Facilitator Honorable Advocate Job Sikhala, following his address at the UN 16th Human Rights and Democracy Summit held in Geneva, Switzerland on 15 May 2024. It has become imperative for our NDGW consultative movement to set the record straight on this matter. The National Democratic Working Group stands in solidarity with the statement made by Honorable Advocate Job Sikhala at the United Nations Human Rights and Democracy Summit held in Geneva, Switzerland on 15 May 2024, just about 5 days ago. The National Democratic Working Group is proud to be associated with a leader who is consistent, brave, and undeterred in his resolve to see a just and prosperous Zimbabwe. The statement made by Honorable Advocate Sikhala in the brief 13 minutes of his presentation was precise in its articulation of the human rights and democracy miscarriages in Zimbabwe. We are therefore not allowed, moved or fazed by the ZANU-PF regime members' attacks on our chairman and facilitator for telling the world about the experiences during his latest political imprisonment. We are here to set the record straight and therefore would like to bring attention to the following issues as reminders of the importance of Advocate Sikhala's speech at the UN 16th Human Rights and Democracy Summit. Human rights violations, including abductions, are an everyday, ever-present threat and reality of people in politics and civil society in Zimbabwe. The systematic intimidation can now be evidenced from the reaction of the ZANU-PF government officials with the threats of arrests and open hate speech following Honorable Advocate Job Sikhala's presentation on the Human Rights and Democracy Summit, testifies to the absence of a genuinely plural, competitive democracy anchored on the free speech in Zimbabwe. By the same threats, the ZANU-PF regime intends to send fear into the entire National Democratic Working Group leadership and its grassroots consultative structure. However, we are fearless. From the days of the bombing of the Daily News in Harare, the abduction of Justina Mkoko, who eventually won her abduction case in the courts, the murder of More Memories Chawira, who was shot at close range at the University of Zimbabwe in 1997 during a peaceful demonstration by students, and the murder of Batanai Azizi in a similar peaceful student demonstration, all speak of heavy heavy-handed dictatorship that is predisposed to force and abductions is what Honorable Advocate Job Sikhala was reaffirming at the Geneva summit. There was a reaffirmation. More Blessing Ali was chopped into pieces and stashed into an open well by a ZANU-PF thug, Pius Jamba. The still unknown whereabouts and the fate of Itai Dzamara resonates with a culture of abductions, as is the abduction of Tafadzwa Ngadziwore and murder of a cleric, Tafumane Masaya, in Mavuku Tafara constituency, in a by-election which saw the seat ceded to ZANU-PF in mysterious circumstances. The interference of the Central Intelligence Organization, CIO, in Zimbabwe's August 2023 bogus general elections through shadowing organizations such as Forever Associates Zimbabwe, FAZ, only demonstrates how the ZANU-PF regime's so-called democracy is a complete farce. The takeover of power through military in 2017 to protect ZANU-PF also reveals the extent to which security institutions are involved in perpetuating ZANU-PF hegemony at the expense of an express civilian mandate which should be given in free, fair, and credible democratic elections by all Zimbabwean voters, including those in the diaspora. It is therefore our position that Honorable Advocate Job Sikhala correctly captured and agonized over the realities of Zimbabwe's truthful human rights and political situation. The National Democratic Working Group, NDGW, defends, I repeat for the removal of any doubt, defends Honorable Advocate Job Sikhala's right to speak freely, both in and outside Zimbabwe, in furthering the interests of justice, human rights, and democracy. It's a worldwide phenomenon. So it doesn't have to be a phenomenon within the limitation of Zimbabwean borders or boundaries. We believe in a transparent and open society where people should challenge the government openly and bring it to respect the rights of its citizens. The 595 days pre-trial incarceration was a violation of Honorable Advocate Job Sikhala's bail rights. We believe that the length of time Honorable Advocate Job Sikhala was imprisoned without trial was politically motivated. He was deliberately punished for standing up to the ZANU-PF regime's violation of human rights in Zimbabwe. In a country that has no respect for human rights, that does things that are extrajudicial, whose courts and overall justice system is captured, all of the things narrated by Honorable Advocate Job Sikhala happened during his political detention were not an exaggeration. Our worry, as indeed is for many Zimbabweans, is how other less prominent prisoners are treated in the appalling prison conditions. The ZANU-PF government has enacted a raft of laws, including the Patriotic Act, whose sole purpose is to limit democratic space, freedom, and thereby entrench a totalitarian system of governance in which people are subjected to all kinds of political, social, and economic abuses. We refuse to be coerced and bullied into silence through the usual historic Rhodesian tactics and use of repressive laws. We are all Zimbabweans. This is our country together. We will not be swept under or pushed outside our nation by a club of greedy, self-centered ZANU-PF individuals. We have just received disturbing media reports that the ZANU-PF regime agents have gone to the extent of creating a fake X account in the name of our chairman and facilitator to justify his arrest. Yesterday, the bogus account called for action on 25 May 2024, attributing it to Honorable Advocate Job Sikhala, which is wholly mischievous, nonsensical, and absolute hogwash. The fictitious X account is being run with a sinister agenda, and we call upon all good Zimbabweans to report the bogus account to the X management for its erasure. And a lot of Zimbabweans have done that already, and are doing it already. We're not going to allow the ZANU-PF government to abuse national institutions and international systems like the X facility, which should be used to communicate between people's nations for development of nations and their citizens. It's being used now to sabotage the activities of civic movements like the National Democratic Working Group. The National Democratic Working Group is calling upon all Zimbabweans to assert their rights as citizens and refuse to be manipulated or intimidated into silence. Lastly, Zimbabwe will be free, and the people shall govern peacefully and democratically.